Let's start.
Should we start, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
We don't have the sound, please.
So is it audible now?
Still no sound.
So the sound is full from my side.
It's coming. It's coming.
Good morning, everyone. I hope all of you would have enjoyed the video of KR Mangalam that was played just now. On behalf of KR Mangalam University, I, Nirmaljeet Kaur, would like to welcome everyone to today's webinar on effective conflict resolution. Conflict is an integral part of life itself. In our day-to-day life, we often come across situations where we are in dilemma as to the decision that we are going to make is right or wrong. This is nothing but conflict which arises within an individual. Since we go out and interact with others, team up with them in our classrooms or at our workplaces, it is very natural that our interests will clash with others. This type of conflict is interpersonal conflict. If conflicts are not resolved within a particular time frame, or if those are not resolved effectively, it adversely affects our productivity. To resolve conflicts on time, effectively, and economically, one needs certain skills. So to make us all aware about these skills, we have an expert amongst us, Mr. Gagandeep Singh, who will take us through the process of effective conflict resolution. Mr. Gagandeep Singh is a corporate thought leader and founder of HR leadership venture, GWEPP. He has trained over 1 lakh professionals on strategies to grow amidst slowdown. He is associated with corporate bodies and with universities to train professionals on people management. He is a passionate public speaker and online trainer, specializing in program design methods to use interactive action learning elements for effective e-learning experience. He is associated with various colleges and universities as guest faculty, conducting add-on courses on themes of leadership skills and business communication skills. He has 25 years of management experience in MNCs such as Mitsubishi Group and Nippon Steel Group, over a decade of which he was in capacity of director or a board member. He has rich experience of heading diverse corporate functions such as sales and marketing, supply chain management, human resource development, and learning and development training programs. He's also a rank holder from IIM Ahmedabad 1997 batch, a top ranker from Delhi College of Engineering 1995 batch, and CBSE topper with network across corporates, institutions, and universities. We welcome you to today's webinar, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. The pleasure and the privilege is always mine. Thank you so much.
Most welcome, sir. Sir, today's topic is effective conflict resolution. Conflict is commonly defined as conflict of interest. So is it the only way that we define conflict, or are there more ways to define conflict? Would you please put some light on it, sir?
Thank you so much, Nirmal ma'am. It's my great pleasure and privilege to be here today. And I'd like to begin with a quote which was used to be said there in Mitsubishi Corporation, that any decision which Mitsubishi takes, if there is not a conflict or a divergent view at the beginning, then probably the board would send the decision back to the team, please review. Have you all thoroughly reviewed it? So a very beautiful perspective of conflict, which we will discuss today. And well, there are various ways to define conflict. However, the most primitive and basic is when a disagreement turns serious and becomes prolonged. So two friends wanting to decide what to do for an evening. One says, let us go to a movie. The other says, let us go to a restaurant. So they are best of the friends, but a disagreement has happened now. Now, if they both agree, all right, today we go to movie, tomorrow we'll go to restaurant, then there is an effective resolution quickly. But if one of them keeps insisting, no, today's movie, tomorrow again movie, then we are gradually taking disagreement into dislike. And dislike then degenerates into a disaster. So in a very practical corporate term, when your difference of opinion becomes disagreement, that is the birth of conflict. But when conflict leads to dislike and eventually distrust, then we are at a very serious zone in this particular thing. So there are various formal definitions, but in a simple term, we can say that when you are in a situation where there is expression of hostility, negative attitudes, aggression, misunderstanding, and this can happen between organizations, within organizations, and very interestingly, within the same person itself. I may be having a conflict within me that today, should I go ahead and when I meet somebody, should I be kind or should I be stern? As a director at Mitsubishi Singapore, when I was managing a team of people, there were quite often some issues where employees won't perform. Do I want to go in the harsh face, scold them? Or do I want to be a forgiving, compassionate person? So basically, a disagreement is where the conflict as a concept is born. And there is this interesting definition by Joe Kelly that when there is a opposition or dispute between persons, groups, or ideas. So, well, these are all the definitions, but I'd like to give you a very interesting perspective over here. And the interesting perspective, I'm going to come on type of conflicts a little bit later, is why are we even talking about conflicts? Why are we talking about managing conflict? Well, most of the philosophers and most of the deep thinkers say that it damages four things: effectiveness, morale, productivity, creativity. But if we go to the modern leadership concept, the question is, Is conflict really the devil? And there is no easy answer for that. Because, as I said, a lot of times conflict can produce something interesting. And before we even begin, I like to start with this very beautiful conflict which happened between Pope Paul V and Galileo. Now, contrary to the notion where people feel that Galileo was really tormented, shunned, which happened at the later part of the life, Pope Paul, even though he disagreed with Galileo, did not have dislike, Nirmal ma'am. And because of this healthy respect, Galileo got the initiative and courage. So contrary to the general view that the church really killed or tormented or shunned, in reality, it was the healthy rivalry, healthy conflict between the two, where they were hearing each other, talking to each other, which encouraged Galileo, and this happened. So this respectful hearing suddenly changes the game. One more context over here. A study by a great researcher, Charles Wake, said that organizations use conflict as a great tool to make efficient decision making. And as I said earlier, at Mitsubishi Corporation, if there was any vote which was passed by 10 on 10, it would be sent back. Because if no conflict, that means it wasn't properly discussed. Anyway, on a lighter note, I always give this example. A beautiful conflict happened in cricket, where Sunny and Kapil Dev had very different leadership styles. Sunny was more on defensive, that whatever happens, we should not lose. Kapil Dev was aggressive. But they had mutual respect. They used to listen to each other. They used to talk to each other. And what did the conflict lead in? Nirmal ma'am, it gave us not one, but 2 cups. So as I begin, my starting message is that be it a company like Apple. Today I'm going to talk about Apple a lot. So I think before I move on, let me give this example. If I were to say that what are the greatest inventions of the 21st century, where we have just started, you will all say iPhone, iPad, iCloud, iWatch. But where were they born out of? And if we read about Apple and Steve Jobs, it was Steve Jobs' very unique conflict instigating leadership style, where he used to encourage people to disagree, then debate, but never stop listening, never stop talking. That is when we make revolution. So a lot of corporate leaders say this, Nirmal ma'am, that Apple became a great company, not despite, but thanks to the conflicts. So this is the sort of context which I'm trying to set here right at the beginning, that Steve Jobs gave some opening lessons: absence of ego, ready to put the goals above self-goal, and a sense of shared gains. If we have that, then I think no matter which situation we are, conflict is a great tool to get great results. So with these words, I begin this webinar, and my response to you, ma'am, is that it is not conflict that's the evil, be it Kapil Dev, Sunil Gavaskar, Galileo, or Steve Jobs. From 10th century to 21st century, great leaders use conflict management, and therefore it's not conflict that's the evil, but our inability to manage it. And this is where we'll try to give you some tools to our wonderful students today, so that they can manage conflicts effectively and emerge even greater winners in their life, studies, and universities. So these are my thoughts, ma'am.
So that was quite a comprehensive definition of conflict, and the examples that you have used are quite interesting. I hope we are quite clear with how do we define conflict. So, but when we are conflict, we just don't see it that way. We just believe that we are right on our part, and we ignore the situations that has led to that conflict. So could you please just explain us that where actually the conflict emerges from?
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. A very pertinent next question. I really appreciate it. For this, please allow me to give you a very unique concept called the bone of contention, the bone of conflict, born out of the beautiful dog in the bone game, where dogs are fighting for the same bone. But what is the bone over here? And for that, let us move from the world of Kapil Dev and Steve Jobs to the world of Mahabharata and Ramayana. Now, I'm sure all my wonderful students would have seen Mahabharata and Ramayana, which were areas of great conflict. So, Nirmal ma'am, the concept of bone means first is bias, self-serving prejudice that my view is the right view. We feel that we are genuinely right. And once we start believing that, Nirmal ma'am, we start making excuses that start justifying our belief. So over the next couple of minutes, I want to talk about Duryodhan and Ravan. What was Ravan's entire analysis? He felt that he was completely justified in kidnapping Ma Sita. Why? Because his sister, Shurpankhā, had been sort of offended. So if you go into Ravan's mind for a second, Ravan felt that I am very right. That, Nirmal ma'am, became his bias. And what this started happening is because of this was a correlation, his own bias theory that my sister was harmed like this. So instead of taking a straight face-to-face revenge, he resorted to the very weird way of kidnapping the wife. They have harmed my sister, I'll harm my wife. So what happens, ma'am? Anybody who begins the conflict genuinely starts building a logic that my viewpoint is right and yours is wrong. The next thing, Nirmal ma'am, is overconfidence. You have now sown the seed of thinking that I am right, Ravan is right, and the other side is wrong. Then, Nirmal ma'am, the next concept is overconfidence acts like sunlight and water to this dangerous seed and starts feeding it. And it starts saying that, oh, I will convince, I will win. I am a better person. My choice should prevail. We should go to movie. We should not go to restaurant. So, oh, he is my junior. I can convince him easily. Overconfidence closes, Nirmal ma'am, the doors of negotiation. Once that happens, let's analyze what happened to Ravan. Despite all his sagacious wisdom, he was a learned person. He started believing other side was weak. Oh, Ram and Lakshman are just young boys. Vanar Sena is powerless. Those of us who have seen various Ramayans, this was the greatest falling. Inability to recognize the other person's strength because of your overconfidence. Then always overestimating yourself. Oh, Lanka is strong. My Kumbhkaran, Meghnad, they are my strong power head. We can defeat anyone. So a person who then moved from bias to overconfidence is now started the journey to disaster. And the conflict is inevitable. Duryodhan, probably the greatest evil when it comes to Mahabharata. What was his problem? He considered other side weak. He said, oh, Pandavas are not strong. I can fight all 5 of them together. Lord Krishna is just Mayavi. He was quoted as saying this so many times. Such pitiable, lamentable, obnoxious overconfidence in himself. And considered that other side is weak. I am strong. Of course, which was true to a certain extent, but relative discrimination by misunderstanding the other person's power builds overconfidence and makes you recklessly fearless. Now, this led to a situation where Ravan rejected the proposal of Angad and Duryodhan rejected the proposal of Shanti Dut, Lord Krishna, whereas everybody else, including his father, encouraged him to consider it. That, Nirmal man, is the second O of bone. Now, third is negative commitments. Now, what is negative commitment? We have heard about positive commitment. In management terms, Nirmal ma'am, negative commitment means focusing on the sunk cost, what has been lost. And you start feeling that, oh, I have lost so much. Now I can't change my stance. Now I will not give up. I wanted that we should go to movie. He did not agree. I fought with him. I fought in front of 10 people. Now do or die. I am committed to going to movie. Even though he's proposing today, let's go to restaurant, tomorrow movie. No. I lost face. I fought with him. Now do or die. I will fight that we have to go to. So you start focusing on sunk cost. And by doing this, Nirmal ma'am, we lose our forward-looking, solution-oriented mindset. Instead of looking forward, we look back. So quickly on Ravan's example, in the beginning stage, it was negative commitment to Shurpankhā. In the mid stage, it was negative focus on Lanka burning and to seek vengeance for Vibhishan's betrayal. All of this, Nirmal ma'am, forced him to look backwards. And that is where it started. And in the final stage, which is something I really feel was eventually his last falling. Even at the last stage, his son Meghnad said, Ki, Father, go and seek forgiveness from Divine Lord Ram. But there also, his focus was, oh, I have lost enough pride and lost. Now I can't step back. So Nirmal ma'am, when we start thinking ki now we can't step back, bahut kuch lose kar diya, then we are on the path to doom. Why? Because we are focusing on what is lost rather than what could be solved. This negative commitment is the third reason why we keep dredging and don't change, Nirmal ma'am. And last is evade. Like Steve Jobs said, that the secret of success of Apple was no matter how bad we fight, like cat and dog, we don't evade. Our goal is common, to make Apple the best company. So once we start evading, Nirmal ma'am, what happens? Negativity starts just seeping, simmering, and start growing to something which is of gargantuan stature. So dislike turns into distrust, which turns into hatred. Therefore, if you look at Duryodhan's case, at various forums, all the legendary people advised him, Kulguru Kripacharya, Dronacharya. But what was his evasion? He was evading them. Who was he conferring with? Shakuni, Duryodhan, and even the unsung hero Angraj Karan, who when it used to come to war, was slightly vindictive. This evasion continued to make the hatred bigger, dislike bigger. And this is the most dangerous thing when a conflict leads to an eventual disaster and eliminates any chance of effective resolution. So to recap, answer to your question, ma'am, basically in a human mind, conflict takes its genesis because of biased thinking, when we think that we are right, overconfidence that we will win, a negative commitment when we focus on sunk cost, and evasion, the last disaster according to Steve Jobs, when we stop communicating. So this, ma'am, is a peep into a human mindset and the bone of conflict, ma'am. I hope this satisfies your query.
That's right. So that was quite thoughtful. So the crux is that we should remember BONE, bone of conflict. So you have helped us to understand that it is not just because of a person whom we often refer to as a bad guy that a conflict starts. It is much, much beyond that. So now one question that is arising in my mind is, if we can view personal and professional conflicts through the same lens, or we need to wear a separate hat to understand what a professional conflict is?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. This is such a wonderful question. Now, fundamental genesis of conflict is same. The bone concept remains same. However, according to Professor Dove Dofi of Harvard University, I used to do some leadership programs at Mitsubishi. So they defined a concept which is more relevant to define situations. 5 prominent corporate root causes of conflicts. So all the students who are hearing this today need to understand the prism of conflict, which was launched by Harvard many years back. What is the concept of prism? The prism says in a corporate world, conflict can be process, role, individual, strategy, miscommunication. So I am going to go back to Steve Jobs, and I will today, over the next about 40 minutes, try to give a bad conflict when Steve Jobs was young, callow, versus a next conflict where Steve Jobs was very mature, a conflict which was handled poorly and led to disaster, a conflict which when Steve Jobs was mature, about 40 years old, was handled with great dexterity. But let's first shock with the greatest disaster of management human resources history. Steve Jobs being thrown out of his own company. And ladies and gentlemen, let me give you Steve Jobs versus Scully, trapped in Prism, where beautiful process, role, individual, strategy, miscommunication, all 5 conflicts together. So those of you, I think there are a lot of 11, 12 students. So very quickly, Jobs was a young boy of about 21, 22 years, and he became a billionaire because his Apple product started selling. Like Mark Zuckerberg, he was accused of not having great management skills. So he bought a Harvard gold medalist, John Scully, as a CEO. So in the beginning, it was a honeymoon period. Both of them were very friendly. In fact, ऐसा कहते थे, Apple has one CEO, and that CEO is Job Scully. So anyway, that was a joke. But then the Scully shock happened, and Scully threw Jobs out of his own company. Such a disastrous conflict. Why did it happen? The first reason was process conflict, which is my way is better way. My way is better way. And in these situations, this is actually a good conflict, Nirmal ma'am. Most companies use it well, provided there is communication. However, what happened in the case of Apple One in 1984 was here that the conflict began with simple price. Steve Jobs said, we will launch Macintosh below $2,000. हम $1990 का बेचेंगे भाई, ज़्यादा बिकेगा. Scully said, no, 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 no. We should maximize profit. तो $2500 का बेचेंगे. And this is how, Nirmal ma'am, the conflict started. And in the process, the pride of a designer and pragmatism of a seller came in. Conflict was healthy, Nirmal ma'am, but it wasn't resolved healthily. And eventually Scully won and Steve Jobs lost. Because Steve Jobs never agreed. He never agreed $2500 ke liye. And Nirmal ma'am, then happened the greatest curse. When someone's decision is not accepted and he feels that he has lost, and then the other guy came, the idea with the other guy had given proved to be a disaster, then jiski baat nahi mani gayi hoti, he feels very ashamed and very angry. Suppose the conflict between two boys, one said go to movie, other said goes to restaurant. Restaurant wale ne haar maan liya, acha chal bhai, chal movie chal. You go to the movie, movie is a disaster. The restaurant guy will feel even more livid. So this happened here, ma'am. Scully's high price policy led to low sales and it was a disaster. So the conflict began by process conflict. जो कॉलेज के बच्चे यहाँ देख रहे हैं, आप प्रोजेक्ट करोगे, आप रिपोर्ट करोगे, ज्यादातर कॉन्फ्लिक्ट पहले प्रोसेस से शुरू होते हैं, 90%, because people have some tolerance. Then they move on to role conflict. Role क्या होता है? One of the side takes a veto power. No, no, no. पैसे मैं दूंगा, तो my money, my decision. We will go to movie, we will not go to restaurant. So generally the one with the finance power or the greater muscle power has an option to veto. Role conflict is good in a corporate world, provided again there is communication, transparency, openness. Why? Because Nirmal ma'am, it ensures checks and balances in the system. लेकिन Apple में क्या हुआ? Apple में role conflict ये हुआ कि Jobs was a passionate designer, कि मुझे बहुत खूबसूरत प्रोडक्ट बनाने हैं. He was so passionate about design, Nirmal ma'am. वो कहता था कंप्यूटर के बाहर का रंग कंप्यूटर के अंदर भी होना चाहिए. If computer is a blend of yellow, blue, red, then chip का भी वही डिजाइन होना चाहिए, तारों का भी वही होना चाहिए, कैबिनेट के अंदर भी वही होना चाहिए. So he had a passion and Scully was practical. So the battle happened between a perfectionist dreamer and a pragmatic manager. And once again, Steve Jobs lost. And this started converting his disagreement into dislike. And then, ma'am, the worst thing happened, individual conflict. My way or not, your way, definitely not. This is also called, ma'am, clash of egos, or also called the burning train. कि डैनी की ट्रेन नहीं अप्रूव हुई तो विनोद खन्ना की ट्रेन भी नहीं चलने दूंगा, which gave to the greatest movie, The Burning Train. This becomes the most dangerous thing, Nirmal ma'am. प्रोसेस से शुरू हुआ, रोल में गया, रोल से इंडिविजुअल आ गया, नफरत आ गई. So now your disagreement has turned into dislike. Dislike has turned into disgust, complete distrust. Now you want to destroy the other person. When this happens, it's literally the most dangerous corporate conflict, but it happens often. So this ego, then kills communication, and people start doing shenanigans, Machiavellian tactics. So Job became temperamental. Scully actually remained balanced. Job became vitriolic and started offending people. And Job felt that Scully was just a coach. Company ka malik to main tha. Whereas Scully, because of the ego, started feeling, I am the Harvard gold medalist. I am the CEO. Why is he not respecting me? But Nirmal ma'am, इंडिविजुअल डिसलाइकिंग का सबसे बड़ा इल्जाम जाता है सराउंडिंग्स पे. व्हेन टू पीपल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, लड़ाई हुई थी मूवी गोअर वर्सेस रेस्टोरेंट गोअर स्टूडेंट में, लेकिन जो पास के 10 बच्चे थे, हाउ डिड दे वोट? द सराउंडिंग्स instigate, inflame the conflict even more, ma'am. So when you see, अरे यार, ये सारे लोग तो मेरे साथ रेस्टोरेंट जाना चाहते थे, जस्ट उसका पैसा देख के उसके साथ मूवी में जा रहे हैं, then it turns into hatred. And this happened, I think, and the accusation goes to Mike Makula. He should have guided. There was no mentor. So Nirmal man, kahin mentor agar theek role na kare, to beda gark ho jata, it leads to a disaster. Therefore, I always say, whenever a student has to join a university, what kind of mentors are there? Is there a mentor-mentee program? Had Mike Markula, the chairman of the board, intervened, it would have been a different story. So, and finally, ma'am, fourth conflict is strategy. This then leads to a situation that you are now thinking differently. अब तो बात ही नहीं करनी, अब तू कुछ और कर, मैं और करूंगा, तू जा मूवी जा, मैं नहीं जा रहा, बाय बाय. So this started happening in Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs became so paranoid, he said, अब तो मैं high quality computer ही बनाऊंगा, Macintosh के भाड़ में, I will make high quality computers. On the other hand, Scully became more resolved. No, 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 no. Our previous project was not a success. Let's make a more cheaper version of Apple II. And this led to a situation where even strategic clash happened. And now we are in the hatred zone. And once the hatred zone comes, ma'am, the last and the most dangerous is called miscommunication. This is when people stop talking, stop seeing each other face to face. Complete destruction of friendly atmosphere, complete distrust. The last and the most dangerous level where it's disaster. In the case of Steve Jobs, fundamentally in this zone in 84, he started having more mood swings. He started abusing. He started saying bad, unparliamentary word. And this feeling led to an ultimate disaster where disagreement degenerated into dislike. And so before I move on to the next point and hand it back to you, ma'am, the reason I am giving the case of Steve Jobs and Scully to all the wonderful students is this is one of the greatest case studies at Harvard University, Nirmal ma'am, on conflict in corporate context. The Prism. Every conflict starts with process, then moves to role, then becomes individual, then becomes strategic, and then the death of relation happens with miscommunication. So we are going to talk about this a lot in the last 30 minutes, but basically poor communication, Nirmal ma'am, can lead to poor trust. Poor trust leads to fear, and fear converts into dislike. I always like the quote of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Nirmal ma'am. So Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru se ek baar pucha gaya ki, why don't you guys hate English? So the British people. So Pandit ji replied, when we were enslaved to you, you were unjustifiedly ruling us. We were never afraid of you. And because we were not afraid of you, then we don't dislike you now. Because, Nirmal ma'am, dislike eventually leads to disaster. So these are my thoughts, ma'am. I hope this touches the corporate context of conflicts, ma'am. The phase 3 with this. Over to you, ma'am.
Nirmal ma'am, please unmute yourself. Please unmute.
Thank you very much, sir. That was quite informative. So we should always remember the PRISM framework. We should remember the process conflict, role conflict, individual conflict, strategic conflict, and miscommunication. Because if we remember these, we can understand the professional conflicts.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, very beautifully said. Thank you
Yeah.
for this information.
So as it unfolds, conflict produces a distinct set of products. One thing which is very obvious is that conflict impacts the productivity of an individual or an organization. So apart from productivity, what do you think? What are the other ways it impacts us? So conflict impacts us.
Thank you, ma'am. This is again such a beautiful and pertinent question. And let me answer this by giving you an example of my own life. I was a founding director of one of the world's largest steel mills located in Rajasthan. Largest in terms of the unique high quality product that we used to make, ma'am. So I'll tell you something which happened to me when I was the founding director there in 2008-9. The gentleman, Mr. Sunil Arora, who later on became the chief election commissioner, was that time the chairman of RICO. So Nirmal ma'am, under the aegis of Mr. Sunil Arora, we established that factory in Rajasthan. So the clash happened between two directors and I was one of them. So Nirmal ma'am, jaise, have you ever seen the motorcycle, right? Nirmal ma'am, you have seen the motorcycle?
Yes, sir.
So motorcycle के आगे front fork होता है, which is a very highly important steel tube component. वो important क्यों होता है Nirmal ma'am? The moment you put a brake, you are driving at 80 kilometers, suddenly a cow comes, you brake. पीछे वाला पहिया उठ जाता है हवा में. For that split second, Nirmal ma'am, when we go by the concept of science, अगर बाइक का वेट 100 किलो है, पैसेंजर्स का वेट 100 किलो है, तो 200 किलोग्राम्स, तो उस एक सेकंड के लिए उस ट्यूब पे 200 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 10, 2000 किलो का वजन आता है. सो ये स्टील ट्यूब पे सारा मोटरसाइकिल टिकला होता है. सो द गोल इज टू ऑलवेज बाय हाई क्वालिटी हीट ट्रीटमेंट मशीन. हीट ट्रीटमेंट से ट्यूब इतनी सॉलिड हो जाती है निर्मल मैम, जैसे दुर्योधन का सीना जब मां गांधारी की दृष्टि उनके ऊपर पड़ी थी प्रभु शिवा की कृपा से. तो ये बड़ी महंगी मशीनें होती हैं, बड़ी मुश्किल से मिलती हैं. ये एक प्रोजेक्ट हमने किया, हम करेंगे, लेकिन एक प्रॉब्लम हो गई मैम. मेरे में और दूसरे जापानी डायरेक्टर में कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हो गया. I will not say who said what. That will let the cat out of the bag. One of the directors said सस्ती मशीन खरीदेंगे, दूसरे ने कहा महंगी खरीदेंगे. एक ने कहा इंडिया में मैन पावर सस्ती है भाई, जापान वाला हिसाब नहीं है, मैन पावर बहुत सस्ती है, सस्ती मशीन खरीदो, बेशक 5 आदमी लगाओ, 12,000 रुपया तो तनख्वाह है महीने की. द अदर गाय सेड नो नो नो, वी विल गेट द जापानीज मॉडल, वी वांट अ मशीन जहां पे कोई बंदा ही ना हो. ठीक है जी. सो वन डायरेक्टर सेड इट सस्ती है लेकिन एक्सेप्टेबल है, क्वालिटी कम है, लेकिन इंडियन कस्टमर हीरो होंडा बजाज टीवीएस सुजुकी ऑल ऑफ देम विल एक्सेप्ट. क्यों फालतू पैसा वेस्ट करना. अदर सेड नो नो नो, there is Honda also, there is Suzuki also, there is Yamaha also. And one was focusing, Nirmal ma'am, on lower price competitiveness. Other was focusing on expensive one, which was probably hard to sell. One was saying that we want for Indian market. Other was probably too good for Indian market. So this led to a big disagreement. It started with disagreement, but then for the first few weeks they were talking. Then a board meeting happened. In that board meeting, the Japanese director openly insulted the Indian director that you don't understand. This front fork is very special tube. You are a steel expert, but you don't know fuck. You don't know the first rule about steel when it comes to heat treatment. After that board meeting, it turned to an individual conflict. Because the Japanese director did the role of the doomsday advocate, the devil's advocate, communication stopped. And that led to a situation where the board at Japan was confused. कि भाई ये तो conflict हो गया यार, resolve ही नहीं हो रहा. And as a result, ma'am, that project could not proceed for about 4 to 5 months. Both directors were intransigent on their particular stances. And ma'am, what happened was, because of the delay, a Chennai-based competitor set up this plant in Rajpura, somewhere close to Mohali in Punjab, and they installed the same machine. And market itni badi thi nahi ki dusra player bhi aa sake. There were some others who were importing. So conflict, Nirmal ma'am, when unresolved, can destroy not just make bad relations, but destroy. So we lost huge profit. And that year, both of the directors were penalized with zero bonus. That you both acted in a perspective which you may have thought is the best for the company, but like Steve Jobs said, you didn't resolve it in the best interest of the company. You wanted cheaper machine? Okay. You wanted experimented machine? Okay. But you should have had a different kind of mindset. So conflict, when it's kept unresolved, can lead to death of organizations, can lead to destruction of verticals. So on a more philosophical sense, it can lead to loss of trust also. On a commercial sense, loss of business. And from an organizational sense, destruction of teams. Well, I was an Indian, so they retained me as an Indian director, but the Japanese director was punished and he was sent back and transferred. I was punished in the own way. So no matter how great a leader we are, the bone of conflict will come to harm us. I was biased. I felt, oh, this machine of India is very, very good. I was overconfident that yes, this Indian machine can do it. I can convince the Japanese guy. I started investing in the negative commitment. Yeah, itni baar to we have gone to Yamuna Nagar, so many inspections. Why now I can't give up? And then we started evading after the board meeting. So my one line to all wonderful students of KR Mangalam University is conflict, if unresolved, like Arora sir said in the beginning, can be a disaster, not just for businesses, but for careers also. So this is my own confession statement, something which happened to me. I recovered from it, but then it sort of affected me in many manners. So I hope this caveat that conflict itself is not bad. No, conflict is healthy. Kapil Dev said that. Galileo said that. Pope John Paul V said that. Steve Jobs said that. Conflict is not bad. However, Nirmal ma'am, lack of systems to resolve conflict effectively is bad. Which is why, Nirmal ma'am, I encourage students, they should join great universities like KR Mangalam, where this is taught in a very structured manner. So back to you, ma'am, Nirmal ma'am.
I agree with you, sir. Actually, the story that has been shared by you, it reminds me of Titanic. The ship was supposed to be too big to sink down, but ultimately,
Yes.
yeah, it led to a submersion.
Beautiful
So,
correlation. Yes, ma'am. Beautiful, beautiful correlation. In fact, if you remember Titanic, ma'am, the conflict which was unresolved was that the captain was saying, "Bhai, go slow."
absolutely,
The
sir.
owner was saying, "No, no, no, no. We have to meet New York by say 14th or 15th or something." Instead
Absolutely,
of
absolutely,
evading,
sir.
had they had a mature discussion, it would have been a different ball game.
Definitely, definitely.
Beautiful example, ma'am.
So, sir, conflict which might look very minute can actually be tip of an iceberg. So when people, groups, or firms, they move into conflict, simple issues become complex. Few issues give rise to a host of others. So disputes become more difficult to resolve as tradable issues become matters of principle. So I would like to ask you, what approach should we follow to resolve such conflicts?
So, ma'am, sure. Again, ma'am, the beautiful answer is given by Harvard by a very interesting framework. And I'm going to talk about that framework. Basically, there are 4 tools. So I'm not going to go into these tools because some of them are legal. So I'm keeping them out of the scope over here. But broadly, if there is a conflict, one of the ways sort of mediation, somebody comes and mediates, then litigate, you go to court. So litigation is going to court. Arbitration is when you appoint a private judge. The difference between mediation and arbitration is, in the case of arbitration, the result is very strongly legally bound to be followed. In mediation, you can simply ignore it. But today, let's focus on the calm naam of Gautam Buddha, which is negotiation. And for this, ma'am, I like to say ever alert, never avert, which means things of alert you should do always. First thing is approach, never avoid. So if you feel that a student wants to do a project by visiting the dealers, other student thinks I want to do this project by desktop research. Don't let ego stop you. Go ask, talk to them, approach them. Always approach, never avoid, because if you will let the anger build in, anger only serves the enemy. So the keyword here is ask. Approach and ask. Approach and ask. Ask for a convenient time. Arrange a meeting, and preferably where you are not disturbed. And once you have done that, at least you have set the ball rolling. Once this is started, the next Nirmal ma'am is listen. Listen respectfully, patiently. Don't have closed heart, closed eyes and closed mind. Don't be vindictive. Don't invest in sink cost. Listen कि सामने वाला क्या कह रहा है. So do not start preparing your counter argument. Just focus on your wordings. And during the talk, repeat their word. Acha, okay, I understand. Yeah, what you are saying. Ask questions. Another one is empathize. Don't just say your viewpoint. Actually, step into the other person's shoes and feel their pain points. The empathy scorecard is a very beautiful tool which is used. Ki, how well did you understand? So you rate yourself on a rate of 1 to 10. Have you understood and have you felt the pain of the other person's point? He does not want to go to movie because his glasses are broken. He cannot enjoy the movie. So please understand his pain. So please propose, okay, bhai, we'll go to restaurant today, movie we can go tomorrow. Have you understood that his glasses are broken? So that is the concept of empathy. And then, for example, I always give this a case where I did a consultancy role that one of the managers wanted that we should launch our mobile phone on Instagram. Other said Twitter. One said Deepika should be brand ambassador, other said Big B. One said let's price it at 1 lakh, other said 50,000. So other said let's focus on ultra reach to richer segments, other said upper middle class. In case of conflicts, it's important to give sequential numbering and then resolve them one by one. कि ठीक है भाई, अभी सबसे बड़ा conflict है कि we have agreed that we will go to movie, restaurant we'll go tomorrow. Now which option? Drishyam 2, Wakanda or Unchai? So prioritize them. Then which movie hall? PVR, Inox, movie times. वहाँ क्या खाएंगे? Popcorn, chicken burger या veg burger. So a smart leader prioritizes, and that therefore becomes a roadmap, an action plan. कि ठीक है यार, action plan ये हुआ. Today we'll go to movie, tomorrow restaurant. In today's movie, next let us agree that we'll all go to PVR, and let us agree that we will all watch Unchai, and let us agree today we'll eat chicken burger. So this roadmap may not be achieved in one time, Nirmal ma'am. So in the morning you agreed आज picture देखेंगे, कल restaurant. Then meet again in the afternoon. अच्छा यार, आज ऊंचाई देखेंगे. So these are the examples. I'm going to give you example of Apple again, and then honor your commitments and build the trust by congratulating each other. So if you build timeline based commitments, then the other people will start trusting you. आज वो आपके कहने पर मूवी गया है, तो कल ये मत बोलना कि नहीं यार मेरा पेट खराब है, मैं आज रेस्टोरेंट नहीं जाऊंगा, तू जा. If you do that, then it will become like politics. कि आधा टाइम बीजेपी की सरकार, आधा टाइम मुफ्ती मोहम्मद सईद की सरकार. मुफ्ती मोहम्मद की तो हो गई, बीजेपी की आई तो गवर्नमेंट पुल डाउन कर ली. So these are some of the basic tips, ma'am, when it comes to normal life. Abhi I've spoken about the normal life, how we can follow the alert framework. Always ask, listen, empathize, respectfully reorient, and then follow the timeline. So that was phase number 5 for you, Nirmal ma'am.
Right, sir. So you have rightly said that we should never avoid, we should try to listen, we should be we should empathize.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So, so like many social, biological, mechanical process, conflict does cycle over time. It is cyclic. Like people keep changing, they move to different roles. Somebody else would be taking their place. So they might enter into some similar conflicts, or they might enter into newer ones. So since human is the origin of these conflicts, I believe
yes.
it should it should end on human part only.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
So it reminds me of the UN Charter, which says that wars begin in the mind of people. So we should definitely do something to resolve this. So I would like to ask you, as a manager, what approach should we follow to resolve such conflicts which are repetitive in nature?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I think I would like to catch one beautiful word that you said. Humans change, situations change. So eventually we have to conquer the cycle. Very wonderfully said. And how better to depict that than the case of Steve Jobs? In 1984, Steve Jobs was trapped in Prism, process conflict, role conflict, individual conflict, strategy conflict, miscommunication. But like you so wonderfully said, Nirmal ma'am, in the year 2000, when Steve Jobs came back again to Apple, he had changed. His conflict approach had changed. And there are multiple beautiful cases on Apple and Steve Jobs, but please permit me to give the solution, which is a Prince approach. So in the Prince approach, it's basically expected to persuade, refine, include, network, collaborate, and have an experimental outlook. Ma'am, as you would know, Y2K project, when Y2K project was conquered on 31st December 1999, everybody said, ma'am, now we will sell our products on technology platforms. But Steve Jobs said that no, we will sell Apple product on retail store. तो सारी दुनिया कह रही थी मैम कि हम ऑनलाइन अपने प्रोडक्ट बेचें. Lack of sleep, sometimes leads to cold and cough. So what happened, Nirmal ma'am, कि 2000 में दो चीजें हुई. एक तो ओसामा बिन लादेन ने वो टावर तोड़ दिए, ट्विन टावर्स, और एक Y2K प्रोजेक्ट कॉन्कर हो गया. तो होल वर्ल्ड वाज गोइंग कि अब प्रोडक्ट्स को ऑनलाइन बेचना चाहिए, सस्ता है, टिकाऊ है. बट व्हाट वाज स्टीव जॉब सेइंग? स्टीव जॉब वाज सेइंग वी विल सेल बाय एप्पल स्टोर. तो वंस अगेन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हो गया मैम. बट दिस टाइम स्टीव जॉब्स चेंज्ड हिज अप्रोच कंप्लीटली. ही फॉलोड द प्रिंस अप्रोच. ही परसुएडेड नॉट बाय जस्ट कि दूसरा मेरी बात मान जाए. He followed a principle कि या तो persuade हो लो या करवा लो. But in both cases, remain open-minded and engaged. So this time, instead of avoiding, he spoke to the board members often and continued to try and get their viewpoints. The idea of persuasion, आधी उनकी बात मान ली, आधी अपनी करवा ली. He wanted to start in a big way, but the board said it's too risky. So instead of insisting, ma'am, he compromised. He continued to discuss over a period of 1 year without breaking the dialogue with them. So no matter how the dispute goes, do not stop the dialogue. That's the one important thing. And the second thing he did was refined. The refined means, ma'am, his idea was a very upmarket and a very ultra luxury. The board people said कि ठीक है भाई बनाना है तो बना, लेकिन ये लग्जरी नहीं बनाना. तो मैम स्टीव जॉब्स ने 9 महीने काम किया अपने स्टोर पे. Almost the time that a mother keeps a child in her womb. After that, the board rejected his idea. Anybody would have got angry. But in the month of November 2000, when his idea was rejected, he said, all right, let us start working once again. So in order to resolve conflicts, the second rule is refine. Shun the my baby syndrome. Just because Steve Jobs worked on that store for 9 months, the time that a mother keeps the baby in the womb, doesn't mean that you should have my baby syndrome. You should respect others' ideas, have open attitude, and change your proposal. 9 महीने के बाद निर्मल मैम, स्टीव जॉब ने पूरा आइडिया चेंज कर दिया and redesigned. So refine and redesign. The third is inclusive. Inclusive का मतलब है मैम कि those people that we may have a disagreement, we should include them. Steve Jobs ensured that he was able to give psychological safety. Although Steve Jobs' personal nature wasn't very great, he was a bit irate and petulant, yet he allowed everybody to talk. Just because he was the powerful voice, he would not curb the right of others to speak. So, यहाँ पे inclusion means give them the opportunity to speak without fear of admonishment or getting maligned or embarrassed. अगर आप उनको इस बात के लिए डांटोगे कि तू रेस्टोरेंट क्यों जाना चाहता है, भाई पागलों के रेस्टोरेंट नहीं जाना यार, मूवी जाना है, तो फिर गेम ओवर. Allow people to have different of views. Allow people to have divergent views and still include them. Avoid नहीं करना उनको. In his second journey, Apple store project, Steve Jobs continued to engage with those who were opposing views. His board chairman, lot of board members, he kept on including them. उनको वो बार बार साइड पे लेके जाता था, देखो यार ये बना रहे हैं, ठीक बना रहे हैं कि नहीं बना रहे. सो इनको इंक्लूड करना है, एक्सक्लूड नहीं करना. देन नेटवर्क. Network means lot of times our idea may not be the best idea. So go to your colleagues and say, yaar, is there a better idea? Is there a better way to do that? यार आप मेरी हेल्प करोगे? Please help यार. Please give me a suggestion. ये हमें केआर मंगलम यूनिवर्सिटी का प्रोजेक्ट मिला है, मार्केटिंग एनालिसिस. डीलर्स पे जाके रिसर्च करें या डेस्कटॉप रिसर्च करें. We all can be great men, but we can't be supermen. So taking advice from others is a great tool. And then, ma'am, she's collaborate. Collaboration means, ma'am, take responsibility for failures and share credit of victories. If you can share credit and give them mutual success, mutual gain, then everybody will work as a very healthy. ज़्यादातर उल्टा होता है. If your project is successful, everybody says, oh, I did it. But there are no takers for the losers. So that collaboration spirit is very important. And finally, ma'am, experimental attitude. Steve Jobs wanted to launch 100 stores together. Grand opening, ek saath. Entire United States. Board said, no. It's a stupid idea. Let's do a prototype. Steve Jobs agreed. He said, ठीक है, 2 store खोलते हैं. So any conflict का most powerful tool, ma'am, is experimental outlook. कि ठीक है यार, मैं कह रहा था डीलर सर्वे है, बट तेरे को डीलर ठीक नहीं लगता, एक डीलर से मिलके आते हैं. उसमें मजा नहीं आया तो फिर डेस्कटॉप रिसर्च ही कर लेंगे. So have a participative, demonstrative attitude by experimenting and empathizing. So I hope, ma'am, this Prince framework, where you persuade, you refine, you include, you network, you collaborate, and you experiment, may help the students to become the Prince of Prism, the prince who broke the prism. Right, ma'am?
Right, sir. So we'll remember that the Prince approach should be followed for conflict resolution. Sir, at university level, actually, these are the places where we prepare students for life. While preparing, it is important that they should be equipped with the necessary.
I think, sir, we lost her.
Yeah, understood. I understood her question.
So the question is this, that why it's a wonderful, a way, like you understand what conflict is, you understand the bone, you understand now you have a prism to break that white light into those 7 colors so that you understand what exactly is what. Perfect. And once you understand that white light is made out of 7 colors and all that, right? Then how to use those 7 colors to the best of the advantage for the productivity comes, you require skill. That is where the skill part comes in and all that. It's easy to say empathize. It's easy to say be experimental in nature. It is very easy to say that you should be, collaborative and accept others' point of view and all that. But it is very difficult to do.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Because ego, as you said in the beginning itself, that's the one aspect of the personality which keeps on, shadowing over everything.
Yes, yes.
But we have to really, as emerged during the discussion, was that everything boils down to human preparation. What kind of human beings are there in the organization? That is what exactly it is. So universities are one places where we prepare human beings for the workplace, for life itself rather, right? So in the university, how this conflict management is relevant and how it should be taken care of.
Understood. Sir, I think allow me to answer your question on two parts. This is the last phase of my presentation. So basically, sir, like there is that old Punjabi saying, if there are two utensils, they will clash. So wherever there are going to be two human beings, there will be clash. But it
Sir, मैं
becomes
पंजाबी च कहूंगा दो भांडे ने ते वजणगे, right?
brilliant, sir, brilliant, brilliant, absolutely perfectly grasped. Yes. So do pandane te bajengi. So the same concept goes, sir, that up until now, when they were in school, they were in controlled environment. They had to perform in a very ordained, preordained manner, in a calculated and a computed manner. Suddenly, university gives them freedom. So you have social interactions, you have study projects, group presentations, team research, even social engagements, your parties and things which you are suddenly organizing without very deep supervision. So it's like suddenly you are set from a small pot into the big ocean as a free fish. Once that happens, becomes the first real formal forum to deal with huge diversity, language, interest with very limited supervision. I mean, actually, this is one of the reasons that I ask students to choose universities where conflict and forums are carefully taught, because it's like the first love where you will learn all of this. And once that happens, sir, you will have difference of opinions. Somebody would say, this particular party, let us do in the lawn. Somebody will say, let us do it in the auditorium. Someone will say, let's call a DJ band. Someone will say, let's have a sitar music or whatever. So the opportunity where your differences could actually aggravate, they increase. And the chance of conflict also becomes higher. So somehow, since the students are still young, if there is no mentor, if there is no one to guide them, there are no systems in the university, then the challenge is it becomes a you versus me. The one Indian director versus Japanese director. या तो सस्ती machine या महंगी machine, तो as a result कोई भी machine नहीं आई. So this is where, sir, it's absolutely imperative that students need to have good conflict management skills. And actually, this is the last part of my PPT now, that my explanation, that there are, like you asked, it's easier said than done. So what are the skills and how can students? So this is where I'm going to give you a framework which was designed by one of the professors at IIM Ahmedabad. So there was a HR OB expert professor, and this framework was designed called Capable. A student must choose a university which makes them capable in conflict management, and the 7 universal skills are communication, attitude, patience, active listening, body language, and emotional intelligence. And all of this needs mentoring. So if I were to give you a very quick perspective to conclude my talk today, communication is again not easy. The greatest misunderstanding is communication is about speaking, oration. No. So this is a model which was designed by Human Capital Leadership Institute. Communication starts by understanding what the other person is saying. First pillar. So then, of course, you have to make sure you are also well understood. But it doesn't stop here. The third vital pillar is win-win. So जब तक हम दूसरे की बात समझेंगे नहीं, हम win-win की तरफ कैसे जा सकते हैं? Vice versa, हमें अपनी बात समझानी भी है. So this model was given by Singapore government HCLI, which says Communication starts by thinking. अगर वो बच्चा मूवी नहीं जाना चाहता तो क्यों नहीं जाना चाहता? Please think. And then once you have thought, then speak. Then while you are speaking, monitor. वो गुस्से में है, प्यार से सुन रहा है मेरी बात. How is he reacting? Then hear. Don't try to break argument. Hear them properly. Then digest it. यार उसका चश्मा टूटा हुआ है, वो मूवी कैसे जाएगा? And then reconfirm. अच्छा भाई, तेरा चश्मा टूटा हुआ है, चल छोड़, फिर आज मूवी छोड़ देते हैं. So the framework of Singapore government says TSM HDR, TSM HDR, TSM HDR, where the vital figures are not speaking. No, vital factors are monitoring, observation skills, and digesting, cool, calm thinking. तो ब्रेन 2 बार आ गया, आईज 2 बार आ गई, दिमाग 4 बार आ गया, और बोलना प्रैक्टिकली सिर्फ 1 बार आया. So one of the first things which students need to understand is speaking is just 1/6 of communication. There are 5 other pillars which constitute this. So that then begs the next question, ki, what governs this? What is the motor behind all of this? And that is the second A, which is attitude. Attitude is most crucial. And attitude will completely convert a good situation into a bad one, or vice versa. And the answer for that is again given by Singapore University, that we must follow 6-channel rule. Attitude towards parents, attitude towards bosses, attitude towards brothers, sisters, towards peers, colleagues, towards younger siblings and younger subordinates. So the 6 channels of attitude are: when it comes to seniors, be a loyal puppy and a disciplined soldier. Don't bite, don't disrespect. When it comes to peers, be Jai Viru or Batman and Gordon, which means collaborate, cooperate, solve the problems together, kill the Gabbar Singh together, kill the evil, dark Joker together. Even if your ways are different, then your goal is to kill the dark Joker. Your goal is to kill the Gabbar Singh. And finally, juniors, what better example than to communicate in an attitude of a mentor? So a lot of students will have to do the dual role, get mentored by a college professor and mentor also. That's about attitude. So long as this attitude governs your behavior, you conform, you collaborate, and you have compassion, you will always be a consistent, outstanding performer. So I always like to give these mantras. When it comes to seniors, don't be bad, make them glad. Don't be bad, make them glad. When it comes to peer, don't be mean, make a team. Don't be mean, make a team. And when it comes to juniors, do not dare, deal with care. Do not dare, deal with care. So if this attitude governs your life, you have conquered the second skill, which is attitude. Now, moving on is patience. So patience is simple. It's also linked to the last virtue, emotional intelligence. No conflict can get resolved overnight. Look at the conflicts between countries. There are conflicts between India, Pakistan, dispute between India, China, mostly border or some other thing. They take ages. Conflicts between husband and wife. A lot of times your conflicts, even though you are managing it in all India level, your conflicts will not get resolved. So conflict would happen. But the most dangerous state is the virtue of impatience, because impatience, my respected participants, can lead to reckless action, impulsive act. One wrong action can destroy you. One wrong action can kill entire thing. I always quote the example, the impulsive reaction of Draupadi. Why do you think Mahabharata happened? Many reasons, right? But one of the biggest reasons was when Duryodhan fell into that trap in that palace where he was invited. What did Draupadi do? Instinctive, impulsive, reckless bad comment. Andhe ka putra andha. impulsive on the spot. So if you are impulsive on the spot, you could probably lead to a big disaster. So we need to have the patience of an ocean. Wait, wait, wait. It will take time. That's the third skill. The fourth is active listening. For active listening, I'll play a small quiz before I go. So I am showing you a short video of symbiosis. You tell me who's the superior listener. It's a silent video. You won't hear any voice, but see them. There is the black boy and the brown boy. Tell me who's the better listener. As always, put on the chat box or WhatsApp to me at 935 422 6620. Okay, hurry up. I'm giving you 10 seconds. Wow, answers have already started coming. Okay, so I have this answer from Govind. Yes, Govind says the boy in black. Govind, I want to think why. So I want you to look at this video again. Number one, he's nodding the neck. Number two is eye contact. Number three, posture. Number four, pen in hand, ready to write. And number five, formal leg seating. This boy, no eye contact, looking somewhere else, wrong posture. Book is there, but no pen. And now chewing the nail. So these are the things which are called strategic active listening theory, which means FM radio. Listen like FM radio to memorize like a video. The simple concept. How do you listen like FM radio? Focus, memorandum, rush not, argue not, distract not, show involvement through gestures, and obstruct not. Now, the only word I want to explain is subtalk. Subtalk means do not try to prepare your counter argument while you are listening. सामने वाले को पूरी बात तो कहने दो. उससे पहले ही आपने अगर counter argument कर लिया, तो then it won't work. And now next, fifth B is body language. Body language is very beautifully defined by this. Miss Oprah Winfrey. You all see the compassionate look, the kind look by gentle nodding. So always gently nod when listening to the other person. Smile, not a constant stare, and healthy eye contact. So neck, eye, smile are vital tools. And similarly, sometimes you could use your hands on chin, leaning forward, show the person that you're listening to him, clasped hands, not angry fist, and neck slightly tilted. You do all of this, you will find other persons magically becoming positive and neutral. You can change the behavior. लेकिन क्या नहीं करना? Don't tap fingers. Don't look away. And never shake hand. No, 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 no. That's wrong. Similarly, never frown, never closed arms, and never narrow eyes. They show distrust, and they also show sort of dislike for the other person. So that is about body language. Finally, the last tool is language. Language ka kya? Language may avoid very hurtful expressions. Don't say andhe ka putra andha, a blind man's son is blind. So the answer is given by the doha. ऐसी वाणी बोलिए मन का आपा खोए औरन को शीतल करे आपो शीतल होए. And that means be humorous, positive, inspirational. Avoid insulting words. Example. Let me give you 3 examples to end with. Suppose you feel the other person is incorrect. So, sir, I'm trying to understand your perspective and I appreciate your good intention. However, I must say that it appears to me that there may be an alternate way. आपने नहीं बोला तू गलत है भाई. When you don't agree, I acknowledge your thoughts, sir, and from your point of view, it looks quite logical. However, I look at it from a different perspective. When you want the junior to change, I know your approach is good. It has been yielding results and you have been trying hard. However, we need fast results. So I would appreciate if you try a different approach. आपने सामने वाले को बिना insult की अपना point रखा. That is the secret of language. And last is that, of course, as I said, disagree but don't dislike is about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence means simple thing, ability to control, regulate, and display emotions, which are the best strategic advantage. So a university which teaches you all of this, communication, attitude, patience, active listening, body language, language and emotional intelligence, under a great mentor, is the ideal university to join. So with those words, I thank you all for your patient listening and my blessings that you will use these skills to become truly great conflict managers in your real life. So may I hand it back to Nirmal ma'am? Yeah, Nirmal ma'am, can you hear me? Over to you.
Ma'am, please unmute yourself. Nirmal ma'am. Well, there may seems to be some technical glitches and all that. So that was really interesting to start from that bone part, that what exactly is the bone of contention, which leads to conflict. Understanding through a case study that how a conflict actually arises. And then a wonderful aspect was this. In that very case study, we saw a person evolving, right? So that evolved person again emerging on the arena and showing how conflicts can be beautifully resolved, thereby becoming a prince. You become a prince of your own life, you know.
Absolutely.
And once that is there, that case study is before us, that example, a role model before us is there, that needs to an analysis that what kind of skills actually Steve developed, right? And we found that he was a person who developed those capacities, how to say, what to say, when to say, right? That is what made all the difference. And this is how he could win over others. Most important aspect in that was his perseverance and patience. Because it was not like this that today I have said, tomorrow or just now people have to accept my viewpoint. So he gave time, and in the process, he himself also changed. So this flexibility, a mind to understand others, accepting others' viewpoint, respecting others, and then putting forward your viewpoint without hurting or insulting or humiliating someone, actually led to the resolution of the conflicts very, very effectively, right? So conflicts do arise, right? Situations, challenging situations do emerge. And in the university, more so, as such said, because you are coming from a very controlled environment, all of a sudden to an environment which is very open, with a lot of freedom, right? So very naturally, you are at loss, what to do, what not to do, and all that. So as we understood from the case history from John Steve itself, that if in the beginning itself, somebody would have played the role of a mature mentor, perhaps the story would have been different, right? So in the university, conflicts will definitely arise in your life. But most important is the role of the professors, right? Or what we say, the mentors. Because as I said, that proper kind of attitudes or the ability to speak, these are wonderful skills to be acquired over a period of time. And you acquire, one of the basic features of learning is that everything in learning is actually not only through that when you are taught, but actually you really catch them. They are not to be taught, they are to be caught. That means through the behavior of the role models. They are the ones who impact you. They may preach you in a certain manner, ye karna chahiye, wo karna chahiye, theory ye kehti hai, and this is to be done. But if it is not reflected in their life itself, then there is a contradiction in the mind of the student itself. And here comes the role of mature mentors. So in KR Mangalam, we have a wonderful system of mentor-mentee relationship. And it is through mentor-mentee relationship, we try to evolve the capable, framework which Sir referred very clearly. We help you to communicate effectively. We help you to respect others. We help you to understand others. And we help you to reflect on yourself. That's the most important aspect of it, because unless and until one reflects on oneself, one cannot develop as a human being. So our strategy is reflect, observe, reflect, and learn. Observe, reflect, and learn. And this observe, reflect, and learn opportunities we give you through various ways. Now, let me come out with this, that how exactly we are helping you in KRM. So regarding observation part, we give you various opportunities. Now, observation is not only that you are made to observe a particular, what do you call it? Okay, you see this clip or see this. You are given certain situations, or certain situations are created where you are a part of it, and then you go through it and you make, since you go through it, very naturally your senses are responding to it, Then situations are created where you are made to reflect whether your reactions were up to the mark, they were productive, they could help you to win over the trust of others. That means when you are working in teams, you are given ample opportunities to reflect on your behavior itself, and then how to now modify your own behavior. Here comes the learning and all that part. And here, this aspect is taken through various ways, by organizing various kind of workshops, by giving you different kind of exposures, by helping you understand a particular behavior of yours through certain games. Because as far as behavior modification is concerned, in those workshops, we organize various kinds of games. And through those games, we then hold discussions that this is how exactly you played this game, and this is what resulted into. This is how the other person did without. So we follow different kind of strategies to help you. And for that, we have built in different kind of structures. So those structures are, of course, the projects which revolve around certain content matters. As far as the exposure is concerned, we have collaborative massive collaboration, intensive collaboration with the industry. So you are given chance to be with the industry leaders who come to, because we continuously revise and upgrade our curriculum. And every course you choose, we have our collaborative academic or industry partner. For example, suppose you choose mechanical engineering, or you choose, say, computer science, or you choose engineering in communication. So what we do is we have got collaboration with IBM, we have got collaboration with Symmetrics, we have collaboration with Zibia. These organizations are industry leaders. So you have a direct exposure, observation. Unless and until you have an interface with that, you can't go. All right? So we are giving you that. Then what we do is we are giving you a chance to work on their softwares. For example, you are a mechanical engineer, and with the collaboration we have with the Siemens, they are towards development of electrical vehicles. Now they have their own prototypes, softwares, So we give you a chance to work on those softwares. When you work on those softwares, suppose you are being asked to experiment on a particular, say you want to modify a vehicle a bit, there is a certain, like sir was referring to, that you need to have that steel part of this kind, best enough. So here we give you, you develop of your own, you develop, A develop of its own, B develop its own, C develop its own. And then in that software, there is a simulation exercise, you try it out and you find whether your solution really works or not. So there is another way to resolve your conflicts, very much objectively. Now your, arguments or, the way you hold discussions are not based on emotions, but are based on actual facts. So this is how we have evolved our curriculum in this manner. So then, what we give you is that you have learned something and all that. Fine, good enough, fair enough, you have learned. We ask you to go to the community. Try it out there. See the receptivity of the people. And here you have to communicate in the manner, the way the community will understand. So it's not a argument around the table only, round table only, कि community के जाके भैया community में तो जैसी बात होती है वैसी होती है, वो जैसे accept करेंगे वैसे करेंगे. वो आपका जो iPhone है वो stores के through जाना है या technology के through जाना है, you understand it over there itself. So we give you those kind of opportunities. That is another way we have created to resolve your conflicts, to give you, empower you those skills in a very, very practical way. Then another aspect we have developed in KRM is that we have, created, we give freedom to the students to create your own club, So there are students who create Reuters Club. So here literature is discussed in a different way. It is from the horse's mouth. You are inviting people like, the eminent writers, and they're explaining why they chose this kind of a theme. And there is a very good Q&A. And you come to know exactly how a writer evolves and way the writings are. So this is another way. There is a photography club where you are, though on net now, it is everybody is doing the photography and all that, but still photography is photography. What you choose and how you choose and the way you depict, and then suppose on a photograph you write a poem, it's another way. So we give you a lot of opportunities to develop those kind of communication skills. So we have a rich campus. I wish, Nirmal ma'am, do we have now the PPT ready? Nirmal ma'am? Tahir sir, do we have? Okay, so they have started with the PPT. What you see over here is on the first slide. Nirmal ma'am, would you like to come up to explain the PPT, or you want me to continue? Nirmal ma'am?
Just a moment, sir. There's some issue.
Okay. Tahir, till the point you get, let me see, this is what exactly where understanding of the team comes in. All right. And this is a forte of KRM. Right. So we are ready. And these are the skills we really teach our students. And then that suppose something happens, we are working in a group, how to be one as a group. That is what exactly is required when you go and work in any kind of environment you choose. So this PPT comes. Let me take you to this. That you just in the beginning. Is it coming?
That's fine.
He's trying, right? So till the point he tries, let me explain you our campus. Oh, it's coming. Okay, here it is. So what you see in the campus is, it's a beautiful campus, which is about 26 acres of land and full of greenery, right? And the best part of it is its logo, empowering the youth, empowering the nation. So this is what exactly is this. We focus on human beings. Everything is coming out of the human beings. If human beings are taken care of, life, we empower the life. When the life is empowered, the family is empowered, the society is empowered, the nation is empowered. Right? Go to the next slide, please. Tahir sir, next slide. Okay. Nirmal ma'am, would you like to?
Hello. I
Yes.
hope I'm audible, sir.
You would you like to explain, or you want me to continue?
I hope I'm audible to you, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Please
Can you hear
continue.
me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah. Sir, this particular slide talks about our lush green campus, which is spread over 26 acres. We have more than 3,000 students, 12 schools, and more than 150 faculties who are teaching in various schools. We have an industry integrated curriculum with international exposure, and we have tie-up with various foreign universities and institutions which are of high repute. We provide a subsidized AC transportation facility across the various areas of Delhi NCR. Our hostels are also fully furnished and and have centralized AC. We have over 65 plus UG and PG programs from which you can choose while you are studying here for PG and UG courses. Our classrooms are also well equipped with audiovisual aids and they are fully air conditioned. We have full-time faculty, 150 plus faculty, and apart from there, we have a lot of faculty who are coming from industry, and we have visiting faculties as well. We have fully functional high-end laboratories across various disciplines. We practice interdisciplinary project-based learning and record placements year after year. We have more than 90% students who are placed. And the rest of the 10%, they generally pursue a higher education degree or they move on to the businesses of their own. Talking about the next slide, Tahir sir, can we please move on to the next slide? So in this slide, you all can see the various courses that we are offering at Mangalam Universities. We have engineering and technology, BTech courses with various disciplines. In computer science, AI and ML, we have collaboration with Symmetrics and IBM. People from these companies, they come and deliver courses at Mangalam University. So we ensure that whatever latest is happening in the industry, we equip our students with respect to that. We offer BTech in mechanical engineering, BCA, BSc Honors Computer Science, BSc Honors Data Science, MTech. We also offer MTech part-time, MCA, BSc Honors Cybersecurity. Moving on to the management and commerce related courses, we offer BBA in all major specialization, HR, marketing, finance, international business, travel and tourism. We also teach BPA specialization with business intelligence and analytics with academic support of Symmetrics. So again, faculty from Symmetrics are teaching some of the courses to our BBA specialization students. We have BCom honors with academic support from NSC, BCom program, MBA program with academic support of IBM, MBA part-time program, MCom program, and we also have BBA and MBA integrated program. Then under basic and applied sciences, we offer BSc honors in chemistry, physics, mathematics with assistance in civil services exam preparation, IIT JAM. MSc honors again in physics, chemistry, maths, MSc honors part-time. Then we have School of Education where we offer B.Ed, MA education program. We have a school dedicated for architecture and design where we teach courses like Bachelor of Architecture, Bachelor of Design, BA Fashion Designing, Bachelor of Interior Design, BSc Interior Design. And then another college, another school of Mangalam University taking care of journalism and mass communication. Here we are offering UG and PG courses under journalism and mass communication. We have a school dedicated to legal studies where we are offering BBA LLB honors program, BA LLB, LLM 1 year, BCom LLB, and LLB honors program. A school for humanities where again we are offering a range of courses, undergrad courses, BA honors, MA in English, BA honors in psychology, BA honors in Chinese, BA honors, MA in economics, and BA honors in digital humanities as well. We have School of Medical and Allied Sciences, where again we are offering a range of courses, B Pharmacy, M Pharmacy, Diploma, BPT. We're also offering BSc honors in Operation Theatre Technique, Dialysis Technology, Medical Lab Technology, and Bachelor's in Optometry with academic support, Dr. Shroff Charity Eye Hospital. We have a tie-up with them. We have a School of Hotel Management and Catering where we offer BHMCT. We have School of Agricultural Sciences where we offer BSc Agriculture. And we also have doctoral program where we offer PhD in various disciplines. Moving on to the next slide. Tahir sir. We have industry collaboration with various partners. Tahir sir, can we move to the next slide? So this slide talks about the various industry collaborations we have. And some of these companies we have already named: IBM, Symmetrix, Siemens, LinkedIn Learning, NSE, and Dr. Shroff Charity Eye Hospital, which we spoke about just now. Next slide, Tahir sir, please. So as we have various clubs and societies at KR Mangalam University, we have e-yantra robotics labs as well. So this lab has been set up with partnership or with under mentorship of IIT Bombay. And here we develop our students with the latest in robotics. Our students have recently developed a drone as well. So next slide, Tahir sir, please. So this particular slide showcases the honorary distinguished professors at KR Mangalam University. So we have professors from various places, many professors who are teaching abroad, and they are delivering lectures. They are helping us in our academic regulations. They are helping us to design our curriculum. Mr. Vikramatal, Professor Sunita Singh Sengupta, Dr. Shiv Kumar Kaushik, Professor Sudhanshu Roy, Professor Krishan Lal, Professor Jack Copeland, Mr. Vinod Sood, Professor Sumayu Satpathy, Mr. Chandraprahas Chaudhary, Professor Anita Sharma. These are to name a few. Can we please move to the next slide, Tahir sir? At KR Mangalam University, we just don't talk about traditional learning. We follow very innovative teaching pedagogy. At School of Management and Commerce, we take simulation workshops for our students. We practice role plays, we practice case studies, and we also believe in using technology in teaching and learning process. So this slide showcases that. Can we move to the next slide, sir? So as I talked to you about the various community, various clubs at KR Mangalam University, so this slide showcases life beyond academics. So we are not just only focusing on the theoretical aspects of the curriculum. We also try to involve industry so that our students can be ready for employment. We arrange industry visits for our students. In the last semester, we had arranged a visit to Coca-Cola, so where students could see how the functioning of how the operations of Coca-Cola industry is happening. And the faculties from these corporates are also coming to our campus for taking some workshops, for delivering regular lectures. So apart from that, we also have mentor-mentee program at KR Mangalam University. So this helps a lot, and this is quite relevant to our topic of today, that is conflict resolution. So as we discussed, students at various phases of life, they might enter into some personal or some type of conflict along with their peer members as well. So for effective resolution of those conflict, we have mentor-mentee program in place where every faculty is assigned around 25 to 30 students who are their mentee throughout their tenure at KR Mangalam University. So the moment you enter the university, you will be assigned a mentor. Until the time you leave the campus, the same mentor will be helping you out with the various problems. So these problems range from some personal issues where you seek our help. It might be academics related. It might be about extracurricular, co-curricular activities. It is about your further career guidance as well. And our relationship with our mentee doesn't end with their
tenure at KR Mangalam University. Even when they move out, they join corporates, they still seek out help from their mentors and asking them about various things which we can be of help. We also follow various community connect projects here. So we have a society, we have various clubs, we have a Chetana Society, which is very much regular in going for some extension activities, community related activities in the nearby villages. So at KR Mangalam University, we have 5 adopted villages where we go for various projects. Sometimes like we go to educate them about technology adoption. For example, what would be the benefit if they are adopting digital payment methods? We also teach them about the various initiatives of government like Swachhata Abhiyan, Save the Girl Child, and we sensitize time to time. We keep on sensitizing them about the issues which are of their own benefit. So students are actively involved along with the faculties for these community connect programs. This last slide is about, the last picture is about the clubs and societies. So we have already spoken about these. We have Innovation Club, we have Management Club, we have Rhetoric Club, Literature Club. So there are various clubs and societies. Each student, when they enter into KR Mangalam University, they are given choice to become part of at least one club where they are deeply involved in the activities, and time to time we keep on doing activities which are mostly student driven. They are led by students and they are for students. Next slide, please, Tahir sir. Yeah. So this particular slide talks about the various universities with which we have tie-up. We have tie-up with the University of Melbourne, University of Florida, University of Houston, Middlesex University, London, Jigansha University, Nanwa University, TIENS, ESCE, so that the students get international exposure. So we are not confining you to our KR Mangalam boundary only. So we are inviting experts from outside also, faculties from outside, so that you can have a rich learning experience. Next slide, please, sir. So this particular slide talks about the placement highlights. Some of our top recruiters, they are mentioned here: Paytm, Sun Pharma, KPMG, Medanta, India Bulls, ESCE. So we have around highest package that has been offered to one of our students is 24 lakhs per annum. And we have around more than 400 plus companies who have visited KR Mangalam University till now, who had made more than 600 offers. And as I told you earlier also, so we have more than 90% of placement. The rest of the 10% students, either they take up higher studies or they start their own venture. Next slide, please, sir. So this particular slide is talking about our main recruiters. Some top recruiters were mentioned in the previous slide. And here we have names of few more recruiters. So there are more recruiters, but due to shortage of space, we could put only few of them. We have HCL Technologies, CPA Global, India Bulls, Genpact, Drishti, Outlook, Airtel Bank, Paytm, Lloyds, to name a few. Next slide, please, sir. So if any of the student is interested in taking admission, so this is the admission process we follow. You can go to our website, you can place your query in the chat board, and we get back to you. So the process begins when a student meets an admission officer. So there's a form that has to be filled online or offline. You can procure that application form, fill all those formalities. You have to do all those formalities. And once you do that, you register with us. Then the next step is to take to appear for an admission test. And this particular step is exempted for the students who have already participated in CUET. So whatever you are scoring there, on the basis of that, we take you further. So after this aptitude test, next is the round of interaction, where around 2 or more faculties, physically or virtually, they would be interacting with you. It is not a formal interview, rather we call it as an interaction, where we try to talk about your communication skills, and we also try to talk a little about your technical knowledge of your subjects. And finally, once you appear for the personal interview, and if you clear the stages, you are admitted at Mangalam University, you pay the fee and start attending the classes. Next slide, please, sir. So this slide will give you a comparison of the fee structure that Mangalam University is following. This is the average fee structure, and you can see comparison with the various universities in the vicinity, private universities in Haryana, in Delhi, UP, Punjab, Rajasthan, Bihar. So if you're comparing them, have a look at the 3-year degree program or a 4 to 5 year degree program. You can see that Mangalam University is offering quite a reasonable, offering courses at quite a reasonable fee price. So average fee structure for 3-year degree program is 1,10,000 in comparison to the other private universities in Haryana, UP, Punjab, Rajasthan, etc. And even for 4 to 5 years technical program, you can see that our fee structure is quite low in comparison to the other universities. So we believe in giving affordable education. Next slide, please, sir. So we try to help out our students. We have various scholarship programs for students who are entering into Mangalam universities, and we have few scholarship programs who are already studying here. Like if once you have entered Mangalam University and you have scored really well, you have scored more than 9 CGPA, then also we offer some scholarship. Apart from them, we offer deserving UG students a scholarship of up to 100%. We offer fast track admission to those with 90% in their 10+2 exam, and also they are if they have scored well, if they have appeared for CUT, and then the aptitude test is also exempted for those students, as I explained earlier. There's 15% scholarship for the siblings. If you have one student, one of your sibling who is already studying in Mangalam University, then the other sibling, the new sibling which would be joining the university, would be getting 15% scholarship. So first child will not be included in this, but the subsequent siblings will be getting the scholarship. We have 15% scholarship quota for sports as well. 15% scholarship for children of defense personnel, and we have special financial aids to the students from Mangalam University, Mangalam schools who wish to take admission in Mangalam University. Next slide, please, sir. Tahir, sir, thank you. So here you can see, if you want to connect with us, we are available on all major social media platforms. We are available on LinkedIn, we are available on Facebook, we have a YouTube channel, we have our own website. You can, if you have any query, you can either drop a message on these social media sites, or you can call us up on the phone number that is provided, or on the email ID that is given, that is skoolconnect@kermangalam.edu.in. So if you have any query, you can drop a message for us. But I would still suggest that rather than having a virtual talk, I would suggest that you should come and visit our campus so that you can actually have a feel of how our university is working, how we are helping our students to develop, to grow, and to deal with the various problems that all of us face in day-to-day life. So that will give you a better idea. You can have a talk with our faculties, you can meet our dean, the mentors,
and you can have a actual feel of how the life at K.R. Mangalam University is. Sir, would you like to add something?
Well, that was great explaining about the campus and the campus life and what exactly is happening. As you said, we would love to see you in the campus and have a feel by your own self so that you have a fair idea of what exactly happens in the campus. So we look forward to see you in the campus, right? And be a part of our family. Once again, I'd like to thank Mr. Gagandeep for being with us and sharing us the wonderful case study, right, which made this topic very practical. So that was a very practical understanding with a lot of, acronyms to remember them, from bone to the prism to the Prince model and being capable in the last, right? Thank you so much. And we look forward for having such kind of interactions again and again. And my special thanks to Nirmal ma'am
Thank you, sir.
for moderating the entire session and making it so relevant to the needs of the students, right? And if I don't thank my backstage team, I think I'll be failing in my duty. It is the technical team which is ensuring that we are able to have a contact with you. And most importantly, you are the most important, because we exist because you exist, right? So thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday morning. And we look forward to having more interactions with you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Tahir sir, we make